Hello, grandkids. It's me, Grandma Eva. I'm here to do the fourth book of the Bible of the Old Testament with y'all. I just got through doing the book of Leviticus with y'all, and we had just finished where Moses had, sanctified his brother Aaron, and he had also sanctified his nephews and everything. That he had erected the temple, the sanctuary of the Lord, and then he also taught them how to do all the specific little things they had to do for the law, for the offerings, all the different kind of things, and that's what he had did there. And now we're going into Numbers chapter, starting with chapter 1. So now in chapter 1 of the book of Numbers, God tells Moses to take a census. He says to count the people, and so this is on the first day, the second month of the second year after leaving Egypt. So 2 whole years since leaving Egypt have already passed. So God told Moses to count his people by family, by tribes. Record the names of all the men that are 20 years old and over who can serve in the military of Israel. So God told Moses to take one man from each tribe to be the leader of their group. And that would be 12 tribes, because Israel, Jacob, Jacob had 12 sons. So that's how they get the people of Israel, okay? So we start off with Reuben. Reuben gets, they count Reuben's, the tribe of Reuben, and the leader for him would be Elizar, and there was 46,500 from the tribe of Reuben. And then from the tribe of Simon, it would be 59,300. From the tribe of Judah, 74,600. From the tribe of Issachar, it would be 54,400. And from the tribe of Zebulun would be 57,400. From the tribe of Joseph, but he split it between Ephraim, Joseph's youngest son, and Joseph's oldest son, Manasseh. So Ephraim had 40,500 and Manasseh had 32,200. And then their uncle Benjamin, from the tribe of Benjamin, had 35,400. And then from the tribe of Dan, it was 62,700. And from the tribe of Asher, it was 41,500. And from the tribe of Gad, it was 45,650. And from the tribe of Naphtali, it was 53,400. And it totaled out to 603,550 of those that were 20 years and over eligible for the military. So isn't that awesome? This is how much came out of Egypt after being there for 100 years. So they started off with 70. Remember how we counted that at the beginning, whenever they entered into Egypt at the end of Genesis. And then so from Genesis, we got to Exodus, and from Exodus, this is just starting off, from all that. As you come and start reading it along, and you start taking notes, and you start, keeping up with all this, it'll be easier for you to understand. So you don't have to keep going back and forth. So if you can have your own little notes as you're studying this. And so here we have the children of Israel totaling, for those eligible for military, over 600,000. So God, in verses 47 and 51, God told Moses not to count the tribe of Levi in this census, because they are to serve God and they're responsible for his sanctuary and everything to do with it. So if any other tribes tries to do any of the stuff in the sanctuary, they'll die. The only tribe that could do this would be the tribe of Levi. So all of Levi's sons, right? Now, the rest of Israel was set up camp, company by company, each man with his own banner. So what he's doing is God's setting up his military, and he already counted the people of Israel, the children of Israel. He put them into divisions of 12, right? And now he's telling them how they're going to be camping, how they're going to be setting up camp. Because remember, they already had a sanctuary. Moses already had erected it, so already been set up. They already had it all done. And now God was going to put the military, the camps, around his sanctuary. So if you have the notes and everything, you can get a piece of paper. You can write it. Yes, I did this too. So in chapter 2, you'll see how God starts setting up the army there. So God begins to instruct Moses on how to get them to get started on how to set up the camp. Each tribe will set up camp with their own banner and symbol. So they are to camp around the tent of meeting, the tabernacle, but at a distance. So God, in verse 3 through 9, God instructs which tribes to camp where around his sanctuary. On the east side, toward the sunrise, it would be these 3 tribes. So it's going to be 3 tribes around each. And what I mean is, yes, I did this, but it's a very small thing because it's my notes, right? So as you can see how I have it is the north, the south, right? The west, the east, the way it's set up. And the sanctuary is right in the middle. So he's going to have 3 sides here, 3 tribes here, 3 tribes there, 3 tribes here, 3 tribes there. The sanctuary is going to be in the middle whenever they camp. That's how they have to set up. So on the east side, it's going to be Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. Those tribes, those 3. And so that's going to be a total of 186,400 men that are going to be on the east side, which is this side right here, right? And then they will be also the first ones whenever it's time for them to get up and go. They will be the first ones to head out when it's time to leave. And then on the south side, because it'll be the first ones here, and then on the south side, it'll be the next ones. And that was Reuben's tribe, Simeon's tribe, and Gad's tribe. And that was a total of 151,450 men that will be, camped on this side. So on this side, it'll be 186, over 186,000. And on the bottom below, it'll be 151. And then the third tribe, the third ones to camp out will be, the Levi tribe. They will camp, they will move next because the Levi are the ones in charge of the sanctuary. So when they're breaking down to leave, they will be, because the Levites are always going to be inside. They're going to be camping inside of right around the sanctuary. They also have positions that they're going to be doing too. So let me get to all that. But anyway, the Levi tribe camp will move next. They will head out next, right after Reuben and Simon and Gad's tribe. And then on the west side of the holy tent, then it's going to be Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin. I think it's beautiful because Ephraim and Manasseh are Joseph's sons, and Benjamin is Joseph's little brother. And so he put Benjamin with his nephews, all the family right there. They're all together, and they're all, protecting the west side of the sanctuary. And that's where they're all at together. And it comes out to a total of 108,100 men. And they will be the third camp to get up and start taking off. And they're on the west side. So we have the east, the south, and then the west. So then the north side of the holy tent is going to be Dan, Asher, and Naphtali. And this totals to 157,600 men. They're going to be the last ones to move whenever Israel moves place to place. This is also how they will camp. So they'll be, whenever they start moving and when they're fixing the camp, because God's always going to be telling them when to leave, when to come, when to stop, and all that kind of stuff. So they're going to know how to set up already. They're already going to have this. This is what the Lord's God is doing. I think this was so awesome. He was training the Israelites. He was preparing them for battle. So 400 years in Egypt, they started with 70 people, and then because of Joseph's tribe taking good care of them while Joseph was alive. But once he passed away, they started being taken advantage of. They turned into slaves and all that. But this physical labor made the men's body strong. They were now there just being lazy, being fat off the land and all that because they were living in a good part of land, and they were also the Egyptians. When Joseph was alive, they knew them and all that. It took very good care of them. But in the meantime, in their struggles, when they were turned into slaves, the Lord made them strong. He also made them very close to each other, to protect one another, to be there for one another, watch each other's back. And they stuck together because they were always in the same area. So God knew this was going to happen because God already had told Abraham. Remember about it in Genesis 15, in chapter 15, verses 12 to 16. That's when Abraham was 75 years old. And, between 75 years old and 98 years old, God told him this was going to happen to his his future descendants. He told them about this. So God already knew all this way before it even happened. And so God was getting things prepared, as we learned in Genesis. So here we now are in chapter 3. And now they're doing the census. God tells Moses to do a census of the tribe of Levi, which is Aaron and Moses' descendants, right? So Aaron is the chosen priest, so he has the special work to serve the Lord. And then he had 4 sons. Remember, he had Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu, remember, they died because of what they did with their censers. They went and put impure fire. They were not told to do that, and God killed them instantly. And it was something very hard on Aaron and Moses to see, but it was something, even God, but it's something that God had to do as an example, because they had to take it seriously. They serve the Lord, and whoever's going to be holy for God has to be holy. They had to show honor. They had to show holiness towards the Lord. So anyway, Eleazar and Ithamar, they took Nadab and Abihu's place, and they started serving the Lord. Because Nadab and Abihu had no children. So let's see. God tells in verse 5, God tells Moses to call the tribe, the rest of the tribe of Levi, and present them, give them to Aaron the priest, so they can help them. Because Aaron and his lineage, like his family tree, they are the high priests. They're the ones going to serve in the holy of holy places in the tabernacle, and only his family will do that. Now his father's family, it says here, God tells Moses to call the tribe of Levi in verse 5 and assign them to Aaron the priest, so they can help him. They will carry out his duties and the duties of the whole community of Israel before the tent of meeting. They will be in charge of all the furnishings. They will be helpers to Aaron and his sons the priests. In verse 10, God told Moses to appoint Aaron and his sons to be priests. They must do their duty and serve as priests. If anyone else tries to go near the holy things, they must be killed, because the only ones that can do that are the priests, because that's who God chose. So God, remember in verse 12 and 13, it says that God destroyed all the firstborn in Egypt, male and animals, right? God saved all, but he saved all the Israelites' firstborn, male and animal, for himself. So God separated them. So they are his. All the firstborn were separated for him. But God is now taking the Levites. Now listen to this. Here, God is now taking the Levites from the children of Israel to be his in the place of the firstborn male of Israel. So that God saved in Egypt. So he's like saying, now I'm going to replace those firstborn male with the children of Israel, so they can be my servants, so they can be there helping also the priests that he chose, so they can work for him in his tabernacle. Isn't that something? You see how God is doing what he's doing here? So God commanded Moses to take the census of the Levites, and Moses had to count every man and boy 1 month or older from the Levites. Not 20 months and older, because the 20 months and older is for the military that he had them count. And he did not count the tribe of Levites in that part. He only counted the other tribes. And so that was 20 years and older for military. Here, he's counting from 1 month old or older. And he's counting all the firstborn males, right? So Moses obeyed God, and he counted them all. And Levi had 3 sons. He had Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. So from the tribe of Levi, from his 3 sons, this is what, he got. He got, they counted 7,500 men from Gershon. They counted 8,600 men from Kohath. And then they counted 6,200 men from Merari. And then, of course, there's Moses, Aaron, and his sons. So they came out to a total of 22,000 men. So when Moses counted all the firstborn males a month old and over of the children of Israel, they came out with only, he also told them to count the firstborn males of Israelites a month old and over. And they only counted 22,273. And then of the Levites, they counted 22,000. So the children of Israel had 273 more children, firstborn, males, children of Israelites, than the Levites. So the children of Israel needed to buy back. They needed to redeem those 273 extra children, firstborn sons, in order for them to get them back, So they would have to give the silver to Aaron. They had to give silver. They had to get a certain amount to Aaron and his sons as a payment for the 273 Israelites. I mean, you have to read it. I can't tell you every single detail because the book of Numbers is awesome. I'm barely in chapter 3 and it's already 15 minutes. And so you can see that there's a lot of detail in the book of Numbers. God has them counting. He has them counting a lot of things, and he has them putting them into the way he wants things done for his army, for his priest, and everything. So here we go with chapter 4. Now in chapter 4, God is giving the Levites detailed instructions. Each family, like for the jobs of the Kohath family, they have detailed jobs for them. The Gershon family and the Merari family, there are detailed specifics what each one is doing. So all the children of Kohath, all the children of Gershon, and all the children of Merari are told what each one has to be doing for the Lord and how they're going to be serving the Lord in the tabernacle and helping out the priest. And on chapter 5 is more rules about cleanliness, about jealous husbands. I mean, the Lord is very detailed, and I love the way God is very detailed with every single thing. My grandkids, but you want to know what they are about, you got to read into with your parents, because a lot of it has to do with adult issues and things like that. So you might want to talk with your parents on that so they can help you understand it. Let's go to Numbers chapter 6, which is the law of the Nazarite. And the Nazarite is just a man or woman who chooses to separate himself for the Lord. And so this is like a vow that they make. And what they say there is that the priestly blesses them. God tells Moses to tell Aaron and his sons the way they shall bless the children of Israel, so they will put their name on the children of Israel. And the Nazarites, though, they have a certain thing they have to do. So in order to find out what that is, this is for the children of Israel. All of this right here is for the children of Israel. As you can see, the 12 tribes of Israel. That's what this is all about. All right? But I want you to I'm going through this with you because I want you to understand all the things that they had to do. That God set them apart, and he gave them all these instructions, and he's very detailed in everything. That they are an example to us on how we are to be obedient to the Lord, because God did instruct them in almost every single thing, a part of their life. Numbers chapter 7, there are the offerings of the 12 leaders from the tribe of Israel to the Lord for the Levites. So this is what it means. All the 12 leaders that were chosen, when he was counting them, each tribe was chosen. There was a leader chosen, and each 12 leader had to collect from each other tribe, from all the people, 6 covered carts and 12 oxen. Okay, and this is what they were collecting. So for the Gershon family, they got 2 carts and 4 oxen, and from the Merari family, they got 4 carts and 8 oxen, and the Kohath family got no carts and no oxen were given to them, because their service was for the holy things, and they carried those on their shoulder. You see what I mean? How God does things. I just think it's so beautiful. All right. So what they each leader was to offer every day was, grain offering, a burnt offering, a sin offering, a peace offering, and they each were told what they had to give. 1 gold pan, 10 shekels full of incense, 12 each. 1-year-old bull, ram, male, lamb, 12 each, and 1 kid of the goats, 12 each, all 1-year-old. So that's like something to think through. So it was like a total of 24, 60, 60, and 60 is what they got. So the peace offering was 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs, so 12 each. On the first day that they presented this offering, it was Judah. The second day was Issachar, the tribes of Judah, the tribe of Issachar. Then the third day was, so for 12 days they were offering these to the Levites, and they were giving all those offering things. And it was a lot of things that they were giving them. They were providing them so they can have the things that they needed for the Levites to be able to do the things they needed to do in the tabernacle and the Holy of Holies for the Lord, to be able to do all these offerings and do all these things, the incense and everything, the showbread and all that. It was the children of Israel who were providing the Levites with all these things. So this is where you'll find out exactly what they're given. Now in Numbers chapter 8, they get taught again the arrangement of the lampstand according to God's pattern, the menorah. So this is a picture of a menorah right here. I mean, you can Google it. Y'all can look them up and y'all can see really what they look like. It's just, I'm trying to use things I have here right now. But it's a menorah. And it's the lampstand according to God's pattern. He's showing them how the cleansing and dedication of the Levites to God to perform the work of the Lord, how to do the grain offering, the sin offering, the wave offering, the burnt offerings. So in verse 16, God took the Levites, one tribe, to redeem all the firstborn male of the children of Israel, and God gave them as a gift to Aaron and his sons. This is, where in chapter 3 where we read that. So the Levites will be separated among the children of Israel, and they will belong to God to do service in the tabernacle, which I think is beautiful, So all the Levites, and this is what I like, all the Levites from 25 years old and above may enter to perform the services of taking, at the age of taking care of the helping out with what's going on in the tabernacle. They start at 25 years old, and then at the age of 50 years old, they stop. It's like they retire. They retire at 50 years old. They can still minister with their brothers, but not work, like not do actual work like they do. I mean, because it's going to be a lot of work with doing all the offerings and everything that the people will be bringing them. But you see how God takes care of them? It's just like, to me, awesome to see this and hear about this. So then we get to Numbers chapter 9, which is the second Passover. Now remember, the Passover is done on the first month of April, which is March and April, right? In the second year. Now that was done whenever I first started reading here. This was done in Leviticus, in the book we just got through reading, and they already did the first Passover. And what they mean by the second Passover is that back then they had asked, there was a group of men that said, we're dirty. We're not able to keep the Passover. So God had given them an extra month. He said, okay, so they can't do it on the first month. They can go ahead and do it on the 14th day of the second month, which is April and May. So during this time is whenever those people did that, because we're already in the second month of the second year. So that's whenever they did that, and they did it according to the way that they were told to do for the first month. So that's something that the Lord also, added another month for those that were unable to do it on the first month of the Passover. So they get a second Passover, and that's in the second month. So I think that's really interesting to read there and see how God is very considerate. So now here we have in Numbers chapter 10, which is only 6 days later from chapter 9, where they talk about the 2 silver trumpets. The 2 silver trumpets are used for calling the congregation and directing the movement of the camp. When both are blown, all the congregation, all the children of Israel gathered before Moses, and then at the door of the tabernacle of the meeting. And if only one is blown, then only leaders shall gather to you. Whenever they sound advance, then they have to go in the order that they were told and they were given. The first is the east camp, the second the south camp, the third the west, and the fourth the north. There was order, no chaos. God was already teaching them how to be in order. So only the sons of Aaron, the priest, shall blow the trumpet. No one else should blow it. And they have specific times when they should blow it. Like when they go to war, and the day of gladness, at their appointed feast, over the burnt offerings and peace offerings. And so they were already taught all that. They were getting prepared for this, and now God's getting them ready so they can take off, so they can start moving. All right. So they depart from Mount Sinai, on the 20th day, the second month of the second year. So this is going to be the first time marching in their order, and their first time to set out. And so here they go, the first tribe, the east camp, which is Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. Then the tabernacle is going to be taken down. The sons of Gershon and Merari was set out next, carrying the tabernacle. The second camp was set out, the tribe of Reuben, Simeon, and Gad. That was the south camp. Then the Kohathites set out carrying the holy things. Remember the holy things they carry on their shoulders. So the tabernacle will be set up for when they get where they're heading, the tabernacle will already be set up. So all they will have to do is take everything they have on their shoulders, take it and get it set up. So then the third camp to set out is the tribe of Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin, Joseph's family there. And then the west camp is the rear guard. The third camp is the west camp. Then the fourth camp and the final camp, which they call the rear guard because they're the last ones, right, sets out, and that's the tribe of Dan, Asher, and Naphtali. So that's the north camp. So that's beautiful how the Lord had them set out. See how he had them in order. And you can read that in Numbers chapter 10, so you can get it all together. So in verses 35, Moses does a beautiful prayer. Each time the ark would set out and rest, he would say a beautiful prayer when they would set out, like take off, and then whenever it rested. And the ark is, let me show you what that would probably look like. The ark is probably something like this. See how it has the poles where they would have to carry it on the shoulders and stuff. But that's what he's talking about. I mean, so I'm going to stop here and I'm going to do a part 2. I'm getting too many phone calls. I'm getting too many interruptions. So I'm going to go ahead and just stop here and do a second part for the rest, because the rest starts getting a little bit harder. I might have to do 3 parts. But anyway, in chapter 10, if you want to hear that prayer, just go in chapter 10, okay? Thank you very much. Love ya.